Hello everybody! Today we are going to do an activity called I Can Read That Rhythm Review. Let's look at our goals for I Can Read That. Our first one is I can read rhythm patterns with quarter, eighth pair, half, dotted half, and whole notes. Your next goal is I can perform an ostinato. We'll talk about what that is a little later. Lastly, I can read a rhythm score. We're going to actually look at a score of music today. Let's start by naming some notes. Before I just tell you what they are, see if you can name them. We have our quarter note, eighth notes, half notes, whole notes. Our quarter note gets one beat. We say ta for that. Our eighth note pair gets one beat also. For our eighth note pair, we say ti. Our half note will get two beats. Ta. A dotted half note gets three beats, so it'll be ta. And lastly, we have our whole note, which is held out for an entire 4 beats. Let's go ahead and look at the score. What do you see? See if you can point out different things that you notice about the score. A score is what we read our music from, also known as a music sheet. You can see that we have a number at the top beginning of our bar lines. This is what we call a time signature. The time signature lets us know how many beats in a measure there will be for this song. So for this activity, we have 4 beats in a measure, and our beat is the quarter note. So there should be 4 beats in each measure. Take a look at these other arrows. Notice that we have a line number 1 and a line number 2. Those are just to show that we have 2 different parts that we'll be performing at once. Take a look at these green arrows next. They're pointing to these lines that are in our sheet music. Those are what we call bar lines. Bar lines are what separate measures of music. So every 4 beats, we have another bar line. If you take a look at the end, near my red arrow here, you can see that we have a special type of bar. It is called a double bar. That's how we know the piece of music is over. That's how we know when it ends. Let's say the rhythm of part 1. We are going to use our tas and titis. Looking at line number 1, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ta, ti, ti, ta, ti, ti, ta. Ta, ti, 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 ta, ta. Ti, 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 ta, ta. Ta, ti, ti, ta, ti, ti, ta. Ta, ti, 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 ta. Very good job. What do you notice about our first line? We have tas, titis, dotted half notes, and whole notes. Let's take a look at part 2. Go ahead and read the rhythm for part 2 with me. 1, 2, here we go. Ta, 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 ta. Great job. I have a question for you. Did you notice anything about part 2? There's something going on there, and I'm wondering if you can find out what the pattern is. Hopefully you can see that each line uses the same rhythms for part 2. We have a half note, another half note, quarter, quarter, half note. And it's the same for each line. It repeats. This is what we call an ostinato. An ostinato is a short, repeated rhythm pattern. So our part 2 forms an ostinato. I would like you to perform part 2 while I say part 1. So we will be saying different things. See if you can really keep that steady beat. Begin with me and end with me at the same time. 1, 2, here we go. Ta, ti, ti, ta, ti, ti, ta, ta, ti, 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 ta, ta, ti, 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 ta, 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 ti, ti, ta, ti, ti, ta, ta, ti, 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 ta. How did you do? Did you start and end with me? You should have, because we were moving at the same steady beat. Now let's switch parts. I would like you to say part 1 while I say part 2. I will do the ostinato, that is part 2, and you will do the different rhythms for part 1. Same thing as before. We should start together and end together. 1, 2, here we go. Ta, 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 ta. How did you do? Did you start with me? And did you end with me? Hopefully you did. Thank you so much for reading rhythms with me today. You rock, Bettendorf students. I'll see you next time.